Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we are talking about Elantris chapters 12 and 13, wherein Hrathen, he gives a sermon, and then Dilloff gives some sermon, and then we find out that he's just a little bit of a hypocrite in some ways. And then we cut to Rowden, who has an adventure. A wacky adventure of Rowden and his good friend Karada. So I'm Data, and with me is
Jack
and Joe.
That's it. No Jamie again. We're working on it. I promise, guys. She will make it back. Yeah. In the meantime, hang on to something, everyone. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Feed the fire, set me free in this city of dreams. Push my mind into overload. Hack the wire, smash the gene in this city of dreams. We'll be immortal in the code. Mind into overload.
So yeah, 2 more chapters again this week. What did you guys think of the 2 chapters? One, like I said last time, the second one is kind of like 3 times as long as the first. So lots happening here.
Yeah. And well, with the first, it's just like, all right, we get one sermon, then we get another sermon, and then it's Hrathen's just like, all right, I need to talk to the boss. And that was the chapter. I'm just like, it was okay. It's really just setting the scene a bit. But then Rowden's chapter is like, oh, we're actually going on an adventure this time and learning a whole lot more. And that chapter was far and away much more enjoyable, I think. You know, we learned a bit more about Karada. A few of our predicaments paid off there, and a few of them didn't. But just that whole, we're breaking out of the Plague City and going back into the regular city. You know, almost like going on a little mini heist. That was really fun. I really enjoyed that one. Much better.
Yeah, I guess I think it's probably something we'll see a lot as we go through the book. Is there's going to be some of these triads where somebody's story is just way interesting than the other 2 that were happening at the same time, which is just a hazard of you're trying to tell 3 different viewpoints that are around the same time. It's like, well, they can't all be winners, right? Not everyone's doing something exciting at the same moment.
Yeah. And I feel like Rowden's got more of the advantage at this stage because he is in a legitimate life and death situation every minute of every day, whereas the other 2, they're kind of still plotting and getting ready to go for broke. So
yeah, they are still plotting and planning. Serene and Hrathen are getting their ducks in line. I don't know that we actually got much more of an idea of what Hrathen was plotting in this one than in this chapter than in his previous one, but you know, Rowden's on adventures.
Yeah, it kind of leaves us with a cliffhanger at the end of Hrathen's chapter. They hint at something, and then it's just like, I have a proposition. So then it's like, oh, well, I guess we don't get to know yet. But no, I like these chapters. Similar feelings to what Dak said. I actually really liked the inner monologue of Hrathen. I feel like Raiden has inner monologue, but it's not quite as. I feel like Hrathen does it a lot more than Raiden, at least at this point. And basically we're getting to see step by step, like I'm thinking this way, but I'm acting in this way because I have a very specific role I need to play here. So it's pretty interesting. Not as action packed, obviously, but still interesting. And wow, this this guy he's got under his employ. He's got some issues.
This guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that things are not gonna go well. Like eventually, his craziness is gonna come to a head at some point. So stay tuned for that. I'm guessing.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So, but the Raiden chapter was fun. I like that he's building his group, and yeah, I feel like a lot of the theories that we've made so far paid off. I was a little disappointed that Karada's not his mother, but that's okay. It worked out in a different way, I think. Because we do still get her backstory at least, so we know about her, and yeah,
they didn't leave us hanging on that.
Right, exactly. It's not like we got halfway through and we're still wondering, is that his mom? It's like, no, we know for sure 100% she is a different person. So yeah, it was good. I'm excited to see what's next for Serene, but we'll get to that next time, I guess.
Yeah, and as I recall, I think the next Serene chapter is also a pretty long one, so she may be having her own adventure.
Does that mean next one's a 2-chapter break instead of a 3-chapter break, or?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you right now. So yeah, next one we're doing 2 more chapters, 14 and 15.
Okay.
And that'll be
Rowden this week.
Yeah, nope. So I think that's for the next 3 episodes in a row, actually. We're doing 2 chapters, and then it starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Okay, cool.
So honestly, it's not all that long that we go with just the 2 chapters before it goes 3, and then it goes like 6 and 4 and 7, and just starts getting exciting.
Madness.
Cutting
Madness.
back and
Dogs and cats living together.
My sister. You can't. And anytime anything crazy is happening, it's got to be Ghostbusters. Dogs and cats living together.
Well, that's what I heard.
Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
Yeah, we did a little bit on that during the book club sessions.
Yeah, I have listened to all the Baby Break episodes. They were fun.
Well, I guess let's get into these chapters. We get a whole, like, Hrathen's chapter starts out with this whole, like, internal monologue about languages. It's like, apparently the Fjordal language is just so holy that and other languages are all profane. And so
that is a weird flex.
Right? It's like, not only are we the chosen, but our language is really the only good one.
Our language is the best language. I mean, to be fair, that very often, maybe it's not that mentality per se, but old school missionaries, they would make people learn English or Spanish, whatever they were speaking, which is how their language spread to new worlds, basically, because they're like, no, you're going to speak this language because you're going to follow our God, and we speak this language. So, I mean, I get it. It's something that exists in the real world, or did at one point. But now it is the opposite. It is what he wants to do now. It's you learn the language and then you go there and you teach.
Right. And you get his perspective where he's like, I mean, if you really want to convert people, then this is the way that kind of makes sense, because it's going to be a much more difficult job. If you're like, my religion is so great that you need to learn my language first so that I can then tell you about it, you're going to get less people. I'm just, it's just a fact. But he's still a little bothered by it. He's like, what if people think that they don't need to learn Fjordal because they can learn about Jadeath in their own language? They don't understand that their language is just profane. It sucks. And so he's up here thinking about this, like, while he's giving a sermon. He's like, I don't really need to focus on my sermon that much. This is just, I do this every day, the normal stuff. And we get the whole list of, like, the different levels that you can be at in Jadeath's kingdom.
And some of these words are very colorful.
Yeah. Man, I thought corporate hierarchy was bad, but this is just, I mean, come on.
How does one become a Gragdet?
Right?
I'm going to be the best Gragdet you've ever seen.
I think in my brain I've always pronounced that Graduate, as if the D and the G had switched places. But yeah, it says Gragdet, all right.
Yeah, it's like Dragnet, but Gragdet.
And there's also Ragnats. I'm like, oh, that just sounds like a pest infestation or something.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound good.
We went and shot some Ragnats off of my my moisture evaporators.
Yeah, we bullseyed
those,
some Ragnats.
those 2 possum hunters are going to come back. I heard y'all got a Ragnat.
Well, golly, Paul, I heard they got a Ragnat problem.
Oh, geez, we've got to have to get some high quality, like, super soakers full of flames. Where am I going with this?
I don't know.
Soakers full of flames.
I think I screwed you up because normally I'm Paul and I took the sun roll and it didn't work.
We need to stick to our rolls.
Yeah, I chose the wrong roll. That's my fault.
Oh my gosh, it's all good.
So I should not still be laughing.
Oh man, you're a tired new dad, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm back at work now. It sucks.
Oh, that does suck. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm off work for a week, but that's because all the kids came down with COVID, so I'm staying to take care of them.
Yeah, the good news is the vaccine works, right?
Right. Yep. None for me. No COVID.
That wasn't Yeah, I was like, that's not sarcastic.
That's genuine.
Yeah.
I got to move up my first jab. I'm getting it next Monday now.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Yeah, Jamie's fully vaxxed, but I have not yet got my first dose, so I'm getting that in a week. And work is giving me the Monday off to get the shot. So yay, 3-day weekend.
Very nice. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I'm looking at this list, and I'm just like, I guess we know what Arteths are. Like, the Arteths are the priests at this church. We don't know what a Dorvin or a Greydor or a Ragnat is. We know the Gjorns. There's like only 20 or whatever Gjorns. And then we learn that Graduates, whatever, they're the leaders of the monasteries, and they're outside of the direct hierarchy. I'm sure none of that will come into play ever again.
It's kind of just like all right, we need to know the equivalent ranking of this to really get an idea of.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it strikes me as weird that he's like, this is the line that people serve in, but we know that he's taken like an Arteth as his Odiv or whatever. Yeah. So that seems to me like it skips a lot of steps on this ladder, which maybe once again, as we were talking about before, like what does Dilloff get out of this? And it's like, well, apparently he's like skipping steps on the ladder of service.
Yeah, he's jumping ranks.
Yeah. Well,
if anyone's a Ragnat, it's him.
Yeah. I think what we're learning about Hrathen is also he's gonna absolutely work with what he's got. So he pulls this dude up because he's like, I need a zealot. So
he's a very practical dude. Time. And he is, yes, he's very tight on time. But it's like he's only been preaching here a few days, and already the chapel is packed up with people standing room only. People are lined up in the back to listen. So clearly, I mean, he's turned some stuff around a little bit. There weren't that many people here before. And he has this whole idea that it's like, so, as my religion becomes more and more popular, the people who were here first will be like, oh, look at me. I was there before it was cool. And they'll have to keep coming back to maintain their status among their neighbors as being part of the cool club early on.
Oh, great.
Yep, that's why I follow the religion I do.
Because you got there first.
Everybody can see how cool I am.
You're like, I was one of the first 2 people in this religion, and I'm going to keep following it. The Church of Bob.
I founded this church.
It would be awkward for you to leave then if you'd founded the church, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. That's usually the people that leave.
Yeah.
It grows into something they're not into, and they're like, oh, I got to get out of here.
This is not why I started this church.
I'm founding a new church.
With
blackjack and hookers.
Forget the church.
Well,
blackjack.
It's probably just it's actually a brothel. It's not a church.
You should name your brothel the Church of the. There's got to be something good to go there.
The Church of getting laid. I don't know what you mean.
The Church of the Common Man.
The Church of the Flesh. That's a good one.
Church of Flesh.
Ooh, yeah, that is nice. Idea. I'm gonna note that down on my ideas for brothel names pad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, new band name. I call it Church of Flesh.
So Hrathen finishes his sermon, and people start leaving. And then all of a sudden, Dilloff jumps up. He's like, nope, I'm going to talk now. Uninvited. And
that's really what you need in a public speaking engagement.
But just the ability for anyone to jump up and start talking.
Yep. Like, Dilloff is just digging himself a hole at this point. I was like, all right, I really don't like you.
But apparently, his speech goes over like gangbusters here. Like, Hrathen gets kind of jealous because this guy is so passionate that the people respond to it. He says they listened more acutely than they had to Hrathen. They followed his insane jumps with their eyes. He's jumping around up there like a crazy person, screaming. He's talking about his hatred of Elantris. And Hrathen's thoughts weirdly compare it to a mold. It's like a mold that spread uncontrollably once it found a dank place to grow. So it's not a very positive simile there, but
it's fitting.
Yeah, it's disgusting is what he's saying.
Yeah, like Dilloff.
Dilloff is very passionate about his hatred of Elantris, which we already kind of knew.
Yeah.
So, but Hrathen also thinks about how he personally is he's not passionate. He's logical. And he's like, I follow this church because it is so logical. Something so organized and careful about details has to be right?
So he's just like, once you convert one empire, you've converted a lot, so.
Easy peasy.
Also, like, round about this section, I started getting the whole fantasy casting wheels working in my head for Dilloff. I'm like, I'm going with either Timothy Spall or Brad Dourif.
It's the weirdest thing, but I see him for some reason as what's his name? Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe?
Yes, Willem Dafoe. I don't know why, but that's what I see.
Dafoe!
I mean, I don't doubt Willem Dafoe could do the role, but I don't know. I picture Dilloff as more of a sort of a Weasley guy.
Yeah.
I also picture him as pretty young, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be younger than Hrathen, so it kind of makes sense. But
yeah, because I don't see Hrathen as old.
No, he doesn't seem particularly old either.
I still think Richard Armitage for Hrathen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that before. Yeah, I'm good with it. But Hrathen actually feels kind of bad. He's like, I've never had something that I hated that much or loved so profoundly. I don't have this sort of passion. I'm good at what I do, but I'm not like this guy. It says Hrathen has been serving 30 years in Jadeith's kingdom. So I don't know if that means 30 years as a priest or if that's counting like when he's a kid in this religion. But so I'm kind of guessing that's as a priest. So he's probably at least like 45, 50. And so then Duke Telri, Mr. Third richest in the country, pops up afterwards. He's like, hey, it's a good move having that guy speak. I mean, people were getting bored when you talked. And Hrathen's sitting here like grinding his teeth at this comment.
Absolute dick.
Yeah, well, we already didn't like Telri, so...
Yeah, but still, that's just like... I mean, you're trying to sign on to this religion and get favor. You don't need to be a dickhead about it.
I think he's really trying to... I don't know that he understands the hierarchy within the lands controlled by this religion, and he probably thinks that as a rich guy, once all this goes through, I'm going to be really important, more important than this lowly priest. I don't think that he gets that it is going to be the other way around.
Yeah. Telri is going to meet a very unpleasant fate, and I will laugh.
And Hrathen just has to play it like, oh yeah, this was my intention all along. I mean, he can't show any sort of weakness in front of Telri at this point. So he's like, there's two sides to every argument, the logical and the passionate, and you get attacked from both sides. And Hrathen asks him, have you considered my proposal? And Telri's like, it's so tempting that I don't think anyone in Erelon could refuse, let alone me. And Hrathen's like, good, okay, we'll be able to begin within a week. Whatever it is, yeah, you're right, we don't get any really idea of what's going on. And then he finds himself in the unenviable position of Dilloff did a good job, and he realizes here's another tool that I can use in my conversion, but I can't make it sound like, because he shouldn't have done this without permission. I've got to make it sound like I don't approve while at the same time telling him, like, we're going to use this. So he has to walk a line there, which I think he does a decent job of.
He's very good at picking his angle.
Yeah. But I feel like Dilloff has his own sort of agenda here, and Hrathen is going along with exactly what he wants.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's just like, remember, you don't do anything unless I specifically tell you to, okay? And he's like, oh yeah, no, I understand. I'm right there with you. Best thing for everyone.
He keeps talking like that's all cool, but his actions say otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very succinct way. And then we cut to Hrathen alone in his office, and he takes out a little box, and I don't know, it really builds up hard to this box. Like, he takes a gold chain from around his neck and digs this box out. It goes on and on about the combination and how it's only memorized. You never write this down. Did you guys have any thoughts about what was going to be in this box before we found out?
I got too wrapped up with the whole mechanism he was describing and just going, this sounds like work.
Yeah.
I can see that, yeah.
Honestly, yeah, the intricacy of the description of the mechanism, I'm just kind of like, well, I don't really know what's in here, but I mean, I guess it's going to be interesting. I thought it might be some like kind of secret like tablet or relic or something like that, but then it ends up being a Seon, and I was kind of like, oh, dude, that's kind of messed up. They just lock these Seons in a box until they want to use them.
Right? Like, given our reaction last time where it's like, oh, we got to meet the Seon that had lost its personality or whatever, and we felt bad. It's like the book has gotten us to this point where we think of them like people, and we feel bad about what happened to this one because it was Rowden's good friend since he was a kid or whatever. And then we meet one where it's just like, no, you sit in a box and you don't say shit until I tell you. And he opens the box, and the Seon's like, do you need me, my lord?
Shut up!
Like, yeah, you don't speak.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking. You're like, oh, jeez.
Yep.
Yeah, that is funny. It's like you open the box. Obviously, you need something from it. So it's just like, hey, how can I help you? And you're just like, shut up! I didn't tell you to talk.
Shut up, Siri.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it makes it worse that it's a soft feminine voice, but
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, why you gotta be an asshole, dude?
Yeah, you
But-
might as well have said, "You'll speak when spoken to," and like backhanded it.
Yep.
He's basically the equivalent of Iodon, I guess, and his treatment of women in his court. Hold on, pause. There's a baby coming for a good night hug. There's probably gonna be another one, so give me a minute.
Balls of light. Now I'm here by myself. I'll talk by myself. That's chaos theory.
You're not here by yourself.
I know. It's like,
Boom.
any opportunity to quote the Jeff, you take it.
Good old Goldblum.
Boy, we're quoting
Was it-
Goldblum now.
Was it you? Somebody sent me. I don't know what group that was in, but I got sent a photograph of like a consignment store, like a flea market type place, and the proprietor of said flea market store filled every empty picture frame for sale with a picture of Jeff Goldblum.
Jamie tagged me in that on Facebook, and then
Maybe
and
that's
then I
what
saw
it was.
Yeah, and then I've commented, it's like, yeah, the proprietor. We all know Jeff really did it.
That's what it was. Yep, 100%. So you were involved.
I mean, if you gotta have something in those pictures, why not? I mean, I guess apparently you can have what's his name from Shang-Chi in them because he did work as a stock photo model, but
Yeah, stock photo guy. Yeah, well, and I think the funniest thing to me about it was like the person actually put in quite a bit of effort because it wasn't like they were all the same picture of Jeff Goldblum. They were all like completely different pictures of Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, yep, I found it. They're all different and like different sizes and shapes. There's a round one. That is putting some work into it. Okay. Sorry, where were we on this thing? Oh, right, yeah, the Seance.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum as King.
Maybe.
I feel like he would be nicer to women.
Who are we talking about as like Mr. Burns?
That was Ben Kingsley.
No, but like we were talking about weren't we talking about casting him as somebody in the book?
Might have been Mistborn though. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Okay.
Maybe no, I think that was recent.
Well, it was like the last episode because I just edited it, but I can't think of like who we were talking about. We could have been talking about someone back from Mistborn in that episode.
Yeah,
Yeah, whatever.
Mr. Burns, excellent. Exactly.
Do it, Smithers.
Oh, it's gonna bug me now because it was like somebody all thin and spindly. Oh, it was like Marishi or something maybe.
Oh yeah, possibly.
I remember talking about Burns, but I don't remember.
Yeah, because Dak was like, oh, that's like it sounds like basically live action Mr. Burns.
Then we've all just had a beat, just gone. Live action Simpsons is not something that ever.
No, yeah, don't do that. Yeah, that's okay. Sorry, it was just weird to flash back to the previous episode. It's like the second episode of Clerks, the animated series. Okay, so
hot, it's cold. We've already made that Star Wars reference.
Star Wars reference.
Why are we
walking like this? Oh my god! I gotta go back and watch that now. I wonder if it's streaming anywhere. I have the DVDs. But... Anyway,
oxygen.
Apparently you can buy it on Apple TV. No thanks. Oh, or Vudu. Maybe I'll buy it on Vudu. Anyway, sorry, we're really drifting. It's all my fault. So I like Hrathen. Once again, he's a very practical dude. He's like, this is really against my religion. Like, this is heresy, basically. But Viking Pope explained to me why it's necessary, and he's right. Like, instant communication anywhere on Earth, it's worth the sacrifice of using this unholy whatever it is to do it.
Skype is evil. Do not use.
And he really distrusts like the motivation of these Seance. He's like, it's just sitting there waiting all patiently and shit. They always look obedient, but
yeah, he's so paranoid. He's just like, they're just gossipy bitches, all of them.
It's like, who knows what they talk about to each other?
Yeah, who knows? It's like, dude, I think you're kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Projecting?
Yes, projecting here. Like, maybe that's what you would do if you're a Seance, but these things are clearly not, whatever.
Stupid helpful light balls.
Yeah. Why do they gotta be all helpful without any needs or desires of their own?
But we do get one interesting note out of this whole thing, is that he says that the Seance are prevented from any further reproduction by the loss of Elantrian magics. So they are growing more and more rare. So I don't know if we knew that, or if it was just implied, or if it was even implied so far that like somehow Elantrian magic was responsible for creating them.
I think we kind of assumed that they were, because they seem to the Aralenes were more aware of them. Just from what Serene was saying about Aish, there were never that many in Teod. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that go nuts tend to wind up in Elantris anyway, so we kind of assumed they were tied to Elantrian magic.
Well, and they got the Aeons in the middle of them, which are what the Elantrians draw to make their magic. So
yeah, true.
It kind of fits. But it also makes you wonder, like, where did this guy get, like, where did Viking Pope get like 20, or I guess 21 of them, of each of the Gjorns has one, like, to just be handing out.
You just see Viking Pope sitting in his chair, and they see some Seons in the distance. So he's like, "Deploy the holy butterfly nets."
In my mind, it was more like he's at he goes to a bunch of estate sales, and he's just like walking through picking old stuff. He's like, "Oh, this guy had a Seon too. Yeah, I'll take that for my collection."
He's just sitting patiently at an auction.
Yeah,
It's like, next item up for bid. This Seon in a box. Ooh, right here.
He's actually got like a room full of them, and they're all like floating around.
they just float around absently. No, you gotta like train them to sing, like make a choir of Seons.
I made these ones sing the Halo theme.
But the chapter ends. Oh my gosh. The chapter ends with Viking Pope coming on the line, and he's like, "I have a proposal involving one of the lords of Erelon, great one." And that's the end.
The second Hrathen chapter in a row that has ended on a cliffhanger about that fucking proposal.
That's true. I didn't think of it that way, but it really is the same thing both times.
This better be the hottest proposal ever. Like there's gonna be like all these women, and
No, it's gonna be
big,
it's gonna be purely about like some sort of loophole in the tax code that they've discovered. And
he's gonna be like, Lord Wern, if we bring all of our priests here, we don't have to pay as many taxes.
We can get the embargo lifted on the Tarragon trade.
They don't charge churches in K.
I bet they do.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
I can't imagine Iodon is the kind of guy to let anyone out of their taxes.
No, you're right about that.
Yep.
But we cut to Rowden, and he's like, "Hey, Galadon, come over here. Look what I got." And apparently they've been looking through Galadon's books, which we kind of knew from a few chapters ago that was the plan. Look through the books to discover the secret of Elantrian magic. And he finds one written completely in Aeons, which he doesn't speak fluently exactly. Like, he can't just read it. But he also found a dictionary of Aeons. He's like, these two together, these will be our salvation. And Galadon's like, "Oh, geez, that's going to take you forever, man." But he's like, I have some experience with this. It'll come back to me. It's fine. Besides, if I have to read one more word about the landscape of Fjorden, I'm going to be sick.
There's something we may have touched on this, but it really seems like Brandon's characters are really horned up on books.
First you had Elend, and then you had, I don't know, it's like one guy who loves books in Mistborn. Vin hates them.
No, there's not one guy.
Well, I guess there's Norden.
Good guy Norden loves
Yeah.
books.
Norden.
That's fair. But Breeze is like has contempt of books. He's like, who would even
Sure.
waste their time on this shit?
Oh yeah, and
Yeah, but
Sazed loves books. You know?
Sazed does. Yeah, okay. That's true. Sazed.
I mean,
God.
The only
Breeze-
reason he doesn't have more is because he can put them in his bracelets or whatever.
Breeze is also the guy who's like, yeah, when he doesn't like something, you don't take him seriously because he's so comical. Like, it was actually a malicious character who didn't like books, or like someone who was militant in their dislike for them. Like, you'd be like, well, this guy's clearly a villain.
I know Vin was pretty militant in her dislike of reading and writing. She did it anyway, but she didn't like it.
Mm.
And then people complimented her on her penmanship, and it kind of annoyed her.
I bet Zane hosted book burnings.
Sure, yeah, I can see that. Zane was a weird dude, though. Like, Strath is definitely the kind of guy who's
Yeah.
I don't want books who say negative things about me existing. Let's get rid of those. I mean, the Lord Ruler had a list of banned books, so, you get executed for having those books, apparently. So it's not a...
Yep, so there it is. Like, banned books. Oh, that's the villain.
Yep. Yeah. Is anyone surprised that the evil God King banned the books that say bad things about him? Maybe that's where Iodon's going next. Who knows? He's not exactly a God King, but he's king, so...
He's a wannabe God King.
Apparently, the library that Galadon has taken over, the guy who owned it was a big fan of geography. So it's like lots of geography books in here, which is not at all what they're after at the moment. It's like, that's nice, but it doesn't help us learn magic. Unless the magic involves geography. Ooh.
What does this book say? Tectonic plates?
Ooh.
It's like, all right, now we're going to use like the Elantrian magic to cause earthquakes, motherfuckers.
Exactly. Or
There's that chasm on Edan's land.
Volcanoes.
No, Volcanoes was last book, man. We got to go with a
Okay.
different.
Earthquakes. Yeah.
Earthquakes this time. Different
Yeah.
natural disaster.
Well, we know there was an earthquake, like when the Elantrian
True.
magic was destroyed. So yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
And like
somebody discovered the earthquake spell.
Yeah, like Edan's land, he's bitching because it's got the chasm in it.
Yep. It all fits together somehow. I don't know how.
Red string on the wall. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like you got the whole cork board up here, and on one side there's a book that says geography on the cover, and you got a red string leading from there over to Aeon Door, over to the chasm. Yeah, it's great. And then there's a book that says Richard on it.
Richard?
Yeah, that's the name of our mascot, Richard the Book.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Richard.
right.
He's a
Sorry, I
thick
keep
book.
forgetting his name.
He's a thick book. Yeah.
And I like, okay, and so then Redden's like, no, it's fine. It's totally gonna come back to me. I'll figure it out. And Galadon's like, you're so optimistic, it's sickening sometimes, dude. And we find out.
Casting again. Galadon is Jimon Honsu.
I don't know
The
who
bloke
that is.
That's the bloke. He was Korath in Guardians of the Galaxy and Captain Marvel.
Oh, I could totally see that actually.
Blood Diamond Gladiator.
Yeah,
Sure.
I picture, for some reason in my head, I picture Galadon as being kind of a thicker dude, but I could totally see that now that you say that.
Yeah. I might have butchered the pronunciation of his name. I apologize if that's the case.
Oh, well.
I'm sure he's listening and he's horribly offended now, so.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, I don't think he listened, so I think we're in the clear.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's our number one fan. What are you talking about?
Number one fan.
Number one.
He's taking breaks from the next movie he's filming to listen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I can't come out and do the scene right now. I'm listening to my favorite podcast.
Oh my god, they totally name dropped me.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I was wanting to email them for so long, but I was afraid. And they talk about me unsolicited. This is amazing. It's the best day of my life. Even better than the time I was in a movie that made over $1 billion.
Now you gotta wonder, if he was a fan, would he be the kind of the Brandon Sanderson books? Would he be the kind of guy who wants to be Galadon, or would he be offended by being like cast as Galadon?
Yeah, he's like, oh, you want me to say Kolo and Sule all the time? I have more range than that.
It's like, you want me to be the funny sidekick guy? Hell no.
I was clearly born to play Rowden.
Nah, I think he'd be better at Hrathen.
I was about to say Hrathen. I could totally see that. Yeah.
He would be a great Hrathen.
But okay, so apparently they've gotten a roof up, or at least a rudimentary one, because Galadon is pessimistic about the quality of the roof. It was like, no, it's great. It's like a large portion of the roof has been completed in 6 days. So it's been 6 days since the last chapter that we had, basically. Marishi, like bragging when we first met him, he's like, I can make anything. It's kind of working out, because it's like, not only can he make shoes and jewelry, but it's like he figured out how to make a clay out of wood scraps and soil and sludge. He's kind of living up to that.
Yeah. His own hype. He didn't need a hype. He didn't need a hype man.
He is his hype man. Yes, exactly.
Mareshi Guyver over here.
Yeah.
What do we got? Some paper clips, a jock strap. Yeah, I can make this work.
I mean, wasn't Silent Bob made a CD player out of a vibrator and some chicken wire or something?
That sounds like a thing that happened. Sure.
I think it was in Mallrats.
Yeah. What did he say?
I remember him hanging upside down and switching out a DVD or something.
Yeah.
That was the days of VHS, man.
I was about to say there was
it
no
was a
DVD.
VHS. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
There's a whole thing with the tape where he's trying to Jedi mind something.
Yeah, he's trying to Jedi mind trick the tape. That's right.
Even
oh my
though
gosh, I forgot.
They keep
that.
saying Jedi mind trick, but it's not the
It's
Jedi
not.
mind
It's
trick.
not Jedi mind trick. That bugged me so much at the time.
It's
I'm
a
like,
force
stop
pull.
doing that.
Stop saying Jedi mind trick. That's not what it is. Knock it off.
Oh my gosh. But no, so we get, and I think Dak was the one who kind of brought it up before, that Rowden, he's putting on this face of like, being positive and upbeat and stuff, and it cracked a little bit in that last section when we met up with Ian, but we get more of it here where he's kind of introspective. He's like, he has to put on, as the leader of this group, he has to be putting on this optimistic, happy outlook, like, oh no, nothing bothers me, while all the while dealing with like the hunger and the pain, and it's a little bit hard on him. So I don't know if you feel vindicated for having kind of called that in the last episode, Dak.
I mean, I figured it was bound to come up at some point. Like, dude's living in like sludge hell, so Like you can't just avoid feeling that.
And apparently Marisha made some gloves too, because there's a guy out there clearing out the farmland with some gloves. And Galadon's like, what good is that going to do? And still Rowden, despite Galadon being like his closest friend in here, Rowden's like, not going to tell you, because I'm that dude who never tells anyone what's happening until right when it's about to happen. And then we meet a newcomer who's one of the people who just like wanders around, lives in Elantris, and he's like, I've heard that you have like the secret to not be in such pain all the time. And this guy says he's been in Elantris a year, but he can barely remember what he did outside. He's like, I think I was some sort of cleaner.
Yeah, this is kind of sad, because it's like this guy's coming to Raiden for something that Raiden doesn't have.
Right.
And I get why Raiden does this, because he's like, well, we need you, and eventually we're gonna make this a better place for everybody. But he doesn't tell him like, hey, no man, there's no cure. Why would I be here if I had a cure?
Mm-hmm.
So he just kind of is like, you'll see.
Yeah, and so he's like, I want you to start cleaning all the sludge off of everything. There's no reason that we need to be living in this sludge. And the guy's like, and then you'll show me the secret? He's like, yeah, you'll get there. Also, apparently Marishi created traps to catch rainfall. And when Rowden's like, so did you get any of the rain from last night's rainfall? Marishi's like offended, like, yeah, of course I did. I made them. They work perfectly. Duh. This guy.
Apparently, he's right to be offended. He's like, everything I have made works fine considering I'm working with shit.
Right? I mean, he's literally like spinning shit into gold here, and I'm impressed. I mean, we were ragging on this guy when he showed up, but
yeah, it's like, forget Rowden. This guy's just like, this guy has all the answers.
Yeah, Marishi's the MVP for sure.
Yep. And yeah, that's when we get into like the introspective where he's like, I was on the outside, I was never like an overly cheerful person, but I kind of have to force it here. Like, I have to be the one who's not showing anything so that everyone else can be strong. And he's like, it's barely been a week and a half, and I'm already like, I can't even focus. Sometimes it hurts so bad. I don't know how long I'm going to last. And then we get word that a group of armed men is coming, 12 of them with steel weapons. And Ron's like, geez, where the fuck they even get steel in Elantris? And Kurata strolls up, leading her men, and she just kind of looks at them, and then she turns and tells her people, destroy the building, chase them out, break some bones, and is just going to stroll away, which is that's hardcore. I mean, considering what life in Elantris is like, break some bones is harsh.
Yeah. It's basically like, leave them in agony for the rest of eternity.
Yeah. And Rowden's like, I can get you into Idon's palace. Which, if we recall, she was captured in the city several times trying to get to Idon's palace. That's what created the theory that maybe she's secretly Rowden's mom, which it turns out was not that far off from the truth. Just not quite bullseye.
She was a mom, just not the mom.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but that, it's fine.
I also like that she's like, we'll never get out of the city. They've doubled the guard, something about looking good for a royal wedding. Like, somehow that news has trickled into the city.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, no, I can get you out, too. And she's like, okay, I'm going to be back at nightfall, and you're going to deliver, or my men will break the limbs of every person here and leave them to rot in their agony. Which, damn. Okay.
Sorry, on the topic of the news getting into the city, I figure that's just, anytime she recruits someone into her gang when they come in, like, she's like, all right, what's going on out there?
That makes sense, yeah. If they're from K, then yeah, that's reasonable. I hadn't thought of that. And so Galadon is all in favor of, let's just hide. Like, there's places we can hide where she won't find us. And Ron's like, but then no one can find us. And like, you saw what happened today. A dude just heard about us and came in and wanted to join. This is what we want. We can't hide. And Galadon still doesn't understand what's happening exactly. He's like, do you really need to start another gang? Aren't 3 warlords enough warlords? Like, dude. And he's like, no, Galadon. I'm worried about life, not just survival. Life. These people are dead because they've given up, not because their hearts no longer beat, and I'm going to change that.
Life finds a way.
Always back to Goldblum. And so we cut to Kurata and Rowden. His exit plan is to dive into the well and float out in the river that runs under the city, because the river runs right by Kay. And she's like, you're fucking kidding, right? This is insanity. We'll drown for one thing. And he's like, oh no, we can't drown. Like, we're already dead. I tried. I could hold my breath for a whole half an hour, and I didn't even feel it. Which, isn't that an interesting, like, you sit around like, I wonder how long I can hold my breath now that I'm dead. It doesn't seem like something that has occurred to other people, because Karada seriously was like, well, but we'll drown.
Like I said, it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do down there?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, long story short, it works. They get down there and float down the river. He has to swim a little bit to kind of keep himself in the middle to not get slammed against rocks on the wall. And then when they make it to where they want to get out, I like the statement. It's like, I guess I should have concentrated less on theological metaphors of the trip and more on keeping my mouth closed, because now water has gotten into my lungs while I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Honestly, with that amount of water in his lungs, like, his lungs should have burst open.
I don't know. I don't know how much water exactly. It says his lungs were full. I don't know that that's literally like full, but not good. And it really makes me wonder how you get that out of there. Like, do you just turn yourself upside down and try to like get it to fall out? I don't know.
I assume that, like, trying to take in breath with your lungs full of water will push the water around because the air is pushing it.
That's a good point. I don't know how much air or how deep it has to go to talk, since that's the only thing he's using breath for. It's not like it's going down in there and getting circulated in the blood or anything. So I don't know. But anyway, so she has to tell him to shut up because he starts coughing as soon as he tries to talk. But there's still guards patrolling occasionally and stuff, so they got to be quiet. And as he's about to show her the secret passage into the castle, he's like, wait a second. I need you to tell me that you're not here to, like, kill the king or anything. And she's like, no, my quibble is not with him. And he's like, should I believe her? I don't. And the rumors are that she wants to kill the king, but who knows? So it turns out
it's like, yeah, my dad's super paranoid, so.
Right. I was going to say, it turns out there's a secret passage because Ion is so paranoid that he wants a way to escape, a last ditch effort, last ditch means of escape from if someone is attacking. And then he didn't keep it a secret. He told his son, who told his friend, and Rowden and Lukel used to play in there as kids or something. So it's not a secret passage as you probably want, and it just all it's doing in this case is giving someone direct access from the outside to your sleeping chambers, which is the opposite of what you kind of want when you're wanting to be able to escape. Like Karada's like, I thought that stuff was just in kids, like, children's tales. And Rowden's like, well, Ion likes those tales, so what are you gonna do? And she's like, so your knowledge of the palace is weirdly extensive, and he does not reply to that, because what are you going to say to that?
Sidestep that question. Okay.
I'm an architect.
Yeah.
I'm the architect.
Of the Matrix?
No. Not that.
Okay.
I built this city.
On rock and roll?
No, on Razor Technology.
No thanks. But she is a woman of her word. She does not mess with Iadon. She just strolls right by, which she's relieved by. I mean, nobody likes the king, but that's still his dad and shit. So they go strolling down halls in the castle and make their way to the single room allotted to a married guard's family, with one dresser and a bed. And he's like, did she come here to, like, steal some guard's weapons? That's insanity. Of course, sneaking into a paranoid king's palace wasn't exactly a sign of mental stability, but no, Karada is in fact a mother, and she wants to see her daughter, who is asleep on the floor in this room. And we find out in a little bit that she leaves the girl a note and a necklace that she always intended to give her daughter, but that they dragged her off before she could see her kid again.
Yeah, man, it's that time.
Ain't that some shit?
Yep.
It makes me wonder how it happened, because you got to figure, if she was sleeping in this room and woke up with, like, had become an Elantrian, like, her kid's got to be there, right? Maybe she was asleep and her husband walks in from his night shift and it's like, oh shit, she's Elantrian, and, like, immediately turns her in or something before she can say anything to her kid.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Probably.
There's no way there's nothing good that could have happened here.
No.
Right.
And then they just, like, she leans down, she leaves behind what she brought, and as they're leaving, they run right into a guard who, as it turns out, is also her husband. And she jumps the guy. She, like, gets him in a headlock, puts her hand over his mouth, grabs his wrist so he can't grab his sword. But this guy's way stronger, so this probably would have gone very, very badly if Rowden hadn't pulled a really clever move, as far as I'm concerned. And he draws an Aeon in the air, the symbol for death.
Death rune.
Yeah.
You are pwned.
It's just like, if you move, you will die.
Yeah, I was never the guy that casted death on enemies in games.
In Final Fantasy,
I'm like,
no.
yeah, it just takes too long. It's like, dude, just cut them up.
Well, most the strong ones, there's like no chance it'll work, and even
Right,
on
they're
regular
immune.
ones, there's like it like doesn't work half the time or something. So it's like, what's the point? It's a waste.
Yeah, the fastest kill in those games is if it's a zombie and you throw a phoenix down and it's an insta kill.
Oh, like that one boss fight. Yep,
Yeah, Geen attack.
good times. Yeah, I don't usually want to waste my chance at casting a spell on anything that has a decent chance to have no effect whatsoever. Like, I'd rather
Right.
go for the pretty much sure hit than the possible.
Mm-hmm.
But that's this rune will 100%. He's like, this aeon will remain for the next hour. It will hang where I drew it, unseen. And if you so much as quiver, it will destroy you. And this guy just buys it, which, I mean, I guess, is that a risk you want to take to not buy that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, well, he could be bluffing, or I could die.
Yeah.
All I have to do is stand here for an hour. Guess I will do that.
Yeah.
It's like the king wakes up. It's like, what the hell are you doing standing there? I got a curse on me, sir.
Death rune. Just normal everyday thing.
Terrible curse.
The Frogurt is also cursed.
But you get your choice of topping.
That's good.
The toppings contain potassium benzoate. That's bad.
I go now.
And then Rowden jacks the guy's sword, which is just like adding to his shame for the night. This guy's gonna have to go report that his sword got stolen the next day. And not only that,
Yes.
apparently we
Stolen
found
by
out he's
plague
like,
victims.
yeah, we find out he's one of the king's like personal guard when they get the sword back into town. So it's like, yeah, so I got jumped and they stole my sword, and then I let them get away and go right into the king's chambers. I'm fired, aren't I?
He doesn't have to say he doesn't have to say that part. He could just be like, they went away and I never saw them again.
Yeah.
I didn't see which way they went. They jumped me and knocked me out and then left a death rune on me.
As long as no one finds him for the next hour, he can just say, yeah, I got mugged and my sword was taken. He doesn't have to say it was by Elantrians or where they went or anything like that.
Yeah.
He can get, and he doesn't have to mention the death rune. So he could still, he's probably still going to get a pay cut, which means that Karada's daughter's going to go hungry for a bit. You didn't think that one through, did you, lady?
Well, she didn't take his sword, to be fair. Rowden took his sword.
No, but they're only
Yeah,
there
and also
because of
she
her.
didn't know she was. Yeah, well, she didn't know that they were gonna walk right into him either. So
Yeah.
She should know his shift schedule. I'm just saying.
it's been a year. His schedule.
That's
changed.
true. Yeah. But she's the first thing she's like, he didn't recognize me, sounding amused yet sorrowful. It's like, yeah, that guard was my husband. We lived together for 12 years, and now he's forgotten me.
Yeah. Would have been really a slap in the face if there was like a woman in the bed. Like, ah, shit.
Stepmom, what are you doing here? I mean, it's been a year. It could happen.
Yeah, man.
But she's like, they took me so quickly, I never said goodbye. And he's just like, yeah, I know. Same thing, man. I mean, Rowden didn't have a kid, but he experienced more or less the same thing.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
maid
yeah,
totally
Salem.
was like, he's dead. Get him.
Get him. That was your whole plan. Get him.
Hmm.
But-
I'm glad to see you doing well, sir. You looked a little pale.
Pale and splotchy.
Yeah.
But we also find out that she knows that he is Prince Rowden, which, once again, Galadon didn't have a hard time figuring it out. And now you've revealed to her that you have detailed, intimate knowledge of the palace layout. It was not hard for her to figure out either.
No.
But she's like, hey, I lived in I lived in the palace with my husband, protecting your father and your family. So I've watched you since childhood.
Creepy.
Yeah. But she's like, no, you lived up to your end of the bargain. My people will leave you alone. And he's like, you have to realize what I'm trying to do here. She's like, no, you want to be like Andon, right? You want to lord over Elantris as your father rules the rest of this cursed land. And he's like, geez, people really are quick to judge me today. No, that's not what I want. Elantris doesn't have to be this pit. And she's like, hey, as long as food is scarce, people are going to fight over the food. And she's like, well, he's like, well, we'll just have to fill them then. So apparently a requirement of the death offering is not just that they have to send this corn. It has to be seed corn. The sacrifice has to be plantable. And she's just like, holy shit, no one has ever thought to grow food before.
Yeah, which I find highly and I mean I get it. They're in the moment, they're scared, whatever. I find highly confusing.
I agree.
No one in 10 years, no one thought, "Hey, I could plant some food."
Yeah. Not
I'm gonna
even
go-
Galadon, Mr.
Yeah.
Farmer.
Exactly. It's like for real though, before we thought of planting food, we boiled leather from books and
Yeah.
ate the leather. Before we thought of planting food, we tried to eat each other.
And I wonder if there's no plants just growing in Elantris already, like trees or anything that would have fruit, or I don't know. It just seems weird to me that this has never occurred. This is the biggest logical leap, or the biggest ask of you to suspend disbelief in this book to me. Is 10 years went by and not a single person thought, let's grow some food.
I guess that we are also working from flawed information. It's entirely possible someone did try it, but they were working on their own because they were terrified of the gangs.
That's
and
true.
And then I don't know. One day you've got old farmer John. He's tending to his corn plant in some deserted corner when Andon's crew walks by and decides to bust his head in for no apparent reason.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
I
Karada
guess
doesn't know everything, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, at the same time, if I saw somebody randomly and I was a part of one of the gangs and they didn't have food with them right at that minute, I mean, I guess you could make the assumptions if he's trying to plant that stuff, they're gonna steal it and eat it first before it can be planted. But it's seriously, can't we? Some of these people seem at least a little reasonable. Can we just sit and have a conversation and say, hey, why don't we plant some food and then everybody will have food?
Yeah. Well, we know that some of the gangs, I think Sheor's men are supposed to be just completely psychotic, so that group's not going to be doing any of that. But the others, come on.
No.
Well, and also, I mean, Karada's gang can't have been around that long. If she's only been in here a year, then her gang can't have existed for longer than that unless she took it over from somebody else. So I don't know.
Right.
So she's like, "How are we gonna get back in the city now?" And he's like, "Oh, just trust me. It's fine." So they walk up to the gate, and the guards are hanging around at the gate playing cards.
I'm sorry. Right. Trust me is just his answer for fucking everything.
It is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it really is just setting up for comic.
Yeah.
Purposes, because really he could just say, "Hey, look, we're gonna go up to the gate and we're gonna be like, hey, let us in." I mean, what are they gonna do? And then he could have explained exactly what he explained to them. But I guess we're supposed to believe that to some extent he's flying by the seat of his pants here, so he's kind of making up a lot of it as he goes along. So maybe he hadn't completely formed the plan at that point, but still, yeah, it's dude, just explain what you want to do.
Well, and by the same token, it's he could have told Galadon the plan by now that, hey, we're going to grow food, and had Galadon on board with this idea. I'm sure Galadon would be thrilled. He's that's a great idea.
Especially if he is a farmer.
Yeah.
It's bro, I need your farming skills. Help me out. It's he told some other random guy he recruited to clear out the place he's going to use for the farm.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell the farmer that, hey, I'm clearing this out so we can grow food. So
it's just it's a little bit it's a little bit Harry Dresden, where it's just it's fun to keep secrets and know things that other people don't know. It's I love it. It's a wizard thing, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, professional smartass.
Yeah. So yeah, he walks up to the guards playing cards. He's like, "Hey guys, excuse me, would you mind opening the gates, please? Be quick about it. I'm getting tired." What are you doing out? Trying to get back in? Duh. And the guard's going to stab him for trying to get back in, I guess. Or for having gotten out in the first place. He's like, no.
He's like, whoa. Hold on. I just told you all I'm doing is trying to get in.
He's like, do you really want to explain how you killed an Elantrian outside the gates? You're supposed to be keeping us in. Wouldn't you be embarrassed if they found out we got out? And very naturally, the guy's like, well, how did you get out? And he's like, I'll tell you later. Right now, you should put us back in the city.
How'd you get out? Trust me.
How does that logic work for the guard? The guard's never going to talk to him again.
Right? It's just,
or at least the guard hopes not.
Yeah, if I was the guard, I'd be like, I don't ever want to see you or talk to you again. Tell me how you got out now.
What do you mean you'll tell me later? What's fucking...
We're not friends. I don't know you. Get in there.
He's like, oh, don't touch us. The shout is, after all, highly contagious.
It's
And
like,
then-
yeah, we're too stupid to know that's not true.
So he just opens the gates to let them in. And Rodden's like, thank you, my good man. You're doing a wonderful job. We'll have to see if we can get you a raise.
Peace out.
This is so condescending that it's amazing. Oh, gosh. And she's like, Karada's like, oh, you make it sound like we want to be in here, like it's a privilege. And he's like, hey, that's how we should think about it. We're going to have to be in here, so we may as well like think positive about it.
You're a strange man, Raiden.
Seriously.
That's what she's thinking.
Yeah. But he asked her not to tell anyone who he is, just like he said to Galadon. And also, please don't tell anyone how to get out of town. Because if they find too many of us escaping, they're just going to kill us all. And then she's like, okay, there's something that I want to show you. And here's where all the children went.
Yep.
I mean, pretty much exactly what you guys called last time, other than her not being Rowden's mom. It's like the exact situation that you predicted. So good job. Well done.
Yeah. The coolest thing is, that the mind of a child needs not fear hunger.
Yeah, they apparently do better with all of this Elantrian thing than other people. She says that she's collected all the children. When she came into town, she saw children huddled in the shadows, frightened of everything that passed, and it made her think of her kid. And so she collects the children. And all the other people who work with her gang, they're all people who left children on the outside. So they feel the same way. They want to protect these children.
Yeah.
And somehow they manage to suffer not as much as the adults from the whole thing. But she says that they still, they can take more pain and stuff, but eventually they also break. And there's a whole other room with those kids that they keep away from these.
So it begs the question, like, did she just work out with the other gangs? Like, hey, if there's a kid, we get the kid.
That's a good question.
Possibly.
Maybe if a kid comes through the gate, she like gets closer. She's like, hey, psst, over here, come over here.
Or like turn, what is it? If they go straight, or which way do they turn for her?
Yeah, I forget which one it is for her, but it's just like, she just beckons them to take their first step in her direction. It's like, hey.
Maybe that's why she always accompanies the group.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe she has a deal with them. It's like if a child comes through the door, like they take the child and they throw the food to the other two gangs.
Right.
Maybe so, yeah.
Because that's all the other ones care about is the food, so.
Yeah, so like if any adults come in, if they turn Karada's way, fair game. But like children, it's a trade-off. We take the kid, you get the food.
And Rowden asks, like, why are you showing me this? And she's like, because I want to join you. So, will you accept my loyalty?
Me and my army of bone-breaking parents.
Right. And she's like, look, I don't have that much longer left. I can feel like the accumulated pain creeping up on me. And I was worried about what was going to happen to my children when I was gone. But this crazy dream you have of an Elantris where we grow food and ignore our pain, I want to see you try. I don't think you can do it, but I think it's going to be interesting. So they're going to join up. He's just subsumed a whole 1/3 of the gang in Elantris into his new gang. Kind of works out for him. And as he strolls back up to the church that they've claimed, Galadon's outside with the lantern, like waiting for him to come back. He's like, Sule, you're not dead. Well, of course I am. We all are. At least that's what you seem so fond of telling me. And the sarcasm is just, Galadon's like, where's the woman? He's like, I walked her home as any gentleman would. But he gives our soldier friend Seolin the sword that he took. And he's like, whoa, this has the symbol of Idon's personal guard. And Marishi eagerly says, the king's dead then? Like, he's into this. Brown's like, no, nothing like that. The guard who owned the sword is probably kind of pissed, but...
I'm sure you give Marishi enough time, he could build some sort of Rube Goldberg machine that would somehow kill Iodon from inside the walls of Elantris.
Right? It'll just like throw a rock exactly where Iodon's standing somehow.
Yep.
It's like, can you tell me where in the palace his throne is? And we'll just aim it right. Okay.
He does calculations all right, I've created this miniature sextant.
But he says, tomorrow I want you guys to come to the palace sector with me and I want to show you something. And Galadon's like, what's that, Sule? He says, proof that the hunger can be defeated. And that's the end of our chapters. So, yeah, I mean, definitely we have stuff happening. Like, that was, I don't know if you guys expected a whole gang to go down so quickly.
From the initial descriptions, I sort of suspected that if any of the gangs would join up with Rowden, it would be Karada's. Just because she always seemed, from all the descriptions, like, all right, one's a lunatic, one's a psychopath, and one seems mysterious, but not quite as shit as the other two. I'm like, well, that's clearly he's going to get an ally in that one.
Yeah, let's make friends with that one. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Like, who to make friends? No, not you. You're crazy. Yeah, okay. Okay, so I guess let's do some predicaments. What do you guys think? Now that so many have paid off already. I mean, we're 30% of the way through the book, and several predicaments have either been paid off or been disproven already. So you guys are doing pretty well. What do you have next?
I think that happened a bit in the Mistborn books as well. We predict something, and then like within a chapter or two, like they would get proven. It's like, oh, okay.
Or disproven, yeah.
Yeah, or that. All right, so from these chapters, I feel like now that he has subsumed Karada's, I almost said Katara. Now that he is subsumed
Katara's army, that would be a badass gang. I just gotta say.
Bloodbenders.
Yeah, now that he has Karada on board, I feel like the other two gangs are going to start taking him more seriously. And we've already had Karada come in and try and shut him down, and now she's on board, so the other two are going to come in and try and shut them down, because like there's a massive power shift now in Elantris, and they're not going to be happy with that. So that's where that's going to go. But then, probably Marishi's going to build like a whole temple thing, like the start of Raise of the Lost Ark, and both their armies get crushed or something. I don't know.
Ooh, that would be really weird and badass. I like this.
And on the other side of things, a more long-term prediction, I think that I feel like Hrathen's not going to be the ultimate villain of this piece. He's definitely been set up to be, but then the more we've seen of him, he seems a bit more reasonable, and he's doing it because he genuinely believes. I feel like he actually might wind up getting betrayed by Viking Pope, who's then going to say, I like this guy Dilaf. Dilaf can take over.
Oh.
And so Hrathen will get... Huh?
Sorry, I was about to say Dilaf's not even like a Fjorden guy. That would be crazy.
No, but it's like Hrathen's thing is like, you got to use the right tool. Viking Pope might just go, well, look, Dilaf's more suited for this than you are. And I feel like it's at the end of it, it's going to be Hrathen and Dilaf coming to blows, and maybe Hrathen will have to team up with the other characters, like the other heroes, or maybe not. Maybe he'll just be a wild card in the whole situation. But yeah, I feel like Dilaf is going to be like the main villain of the piece, and Hrathen's going to be more of a, ooh, which side's he on? What's he going to do? Who knows?
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I like this idea.
Yeah, Dilaf is too full of rage and hatred and being a shit stick.
Yeah, you do feel like the guy who just like hates more than anyone else it just seems like a bad guy, right?
Yeah. So he just won't stop talking about like the things that he hates and how much they need to be destroyed, and we're just like, dude, we're having breakfast.
I'm trying to have my eggs. What was your deal, man?
He's like, blood, death, destroy, guts, fire, burning, and I'm just like, well, now I've completely been put off my porridge, so
yeah, we can't be like that, man.
Yeah, that's how we go.
So, Hrathen, I think he's going to wheel and deal, going to continue to kind of do his thing. Maybe Sereni's going to be a thorn in his side on that stuff, more so than she already has been. I think Dilaf is headed for disaster, and this is my prediction maybe of what might happen. So Dilaf is spouting his hate for Elantrians, and then it's finally too much for him, right? So he gets an angry mob together, and he's like, we're going to go in there and destroy all these Elantrians because they're evil, and we'll take this city back for us, or whatever, And then he's going to raise like an angry mob. They're going to go up to the gates of Elantris. But by that time, Raoden's going to have figured out the magic stuff. And then they're going to get magicked. And then they're all going to bow down before Raoden and be like, oh, crap, the magic's back. And then the gangs are all going to bow down before the mystical magic.
Is he going to cast like Death Rune for real?
I don't think he's that vicious. He'll probably cast like Blind Rune, like go blind for an hour or something. I don't know, but yeah,
it's Raoden. He'll cast the Turn to My Side rune.
Yeah,
that makes sense too.
I'm waiting for this magic to kick off. My concern is based on secret history. It sounds like some of these dead Elantrians are using the magic for like evil purposes. So maybe Raoden doesn't really like win or survive. Maybe things take a bad turn at some point. But yeah, so for right now, though, I think to really get the story kicked off, but maybe it won't be what gets kicked off. Maybe it'll be like way further into the book, like near the end, like the magic's gonna have to start working again somehow.
Yeah, I remember you said that the last time too. You're like, we can't have the book without the magic ever actually coming into it. So it's gotta show up at some point.
Right. If it shows up in like the last chapter, I'm gonna be like, oh really? Oh jeez.
We've gotten maybe a start on it here because he found this book that he thinks will hold the secret.
Yeah. So he's gonna have to do a little Stranger Thingsing. He's gonna have to translate aeons, like they tried to translate Russian communications.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we'll see. Radin really does have the most stuff to do. He's got a bunch of stuff on his list. He needs to fix up the place. He needs to grow some food. He needs to deal with the other gangs. He needs to figure out how the magic works. It's just a whole list.
If anybody can do it, it's Raiden.
Whereas all Hrathen needs to do is convert the entire country in 30 days. It's not a big deal, or 3 months, whatever it was. And I guess I don't know what Serene's trying to do. She's trying to overthrow Iadon, I guess. Or something.
Which really, if Serene and Iadon, or if Serene and Hrathen work together, maybe it would actually be more helpful. But I guess she doesn't like the feudal empire.
Well, no, the whole reason she wants an alliance with this country is to be allied against the feudal empire. So,
yeah, I guess that's true. Doesn't really help her, does it?
No, yeah. It's like, why don't we convert the country and get rid of Iadon that way? Oh, wait, that's exactly the opposite of what okay, never mind.
No, yeah, that's not what I want at all.
So in a way, she kind of needs to help Iadon to keep Hrathen out.
There's no good outcome here.
Yeah. What Raiden ought to do is make a deal with the guards and like, dude, bring us more seed.
What are they going to give them in exchange?
Magic stuff.
I'll draw some magic symbols in the air and pretend they do something.
No, I mean after he figures it out, he'd just be like, okay. Here, bro.
Well, I mean, magic. If he figures it out, then like the Elantrians used to be able to make food out of nothing. So he won't need their help at that point.
I mean, maybe. I don't know if it's going to work quite the same.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Bring me these magic beans. I don't think these beans are magic, but look what I can do with them. Whee! Starts drawing in the air.
These are the best magic beans ever.
Yeah, just hit, he's going to put the seeds in the ground. He's going to hit them with some bone meal. It'll all be good.
Is the bone meal made from Elantrians crushed up?
Sure. That's, it turns out to be really good fertilizer.
Maybe. Who knows? It's
just the Elantrians. It's the powderiest.
And somehow they're still alive in powder form, like screaming where you can't hear them.
We're in horrible pain.
Yeah. Glagnar's Elantrian rhymes. It's a bunch of crunch of zombies.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't Glagnar one of the ranks in the feudal church?
It sounds like it, right? Yeah, exactly.
Ragnat or Rangat, I don't know.
See, I feel like that's something that you could make and people wouldn't feel bad. It's like you can't say human meat. People don't want to eat that. But if you're like made from zombies, people are like, oh, well, I don't mind that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I might still not want to eat it.
Terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, if I eat zombie flakes, am I going to become a zombie?
That's a fair question. I wouldn't want to risk that.
No.
Probably.
It's flakes made of zombies. It's not flakes that'll turn you into a zombie.
Like it's just like in a salt shaker. It's like a spice that you use in a recipe. Put some zombie powder in there.
Zombie powder.
Ooh, why does it taste like burnt chili?
I don't know.
See, now they need a brand of like some sort of spice that's called zombie powder because it's like really spicy or something. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's a zombie jamboree in here. Well, all these spices.
Zombie jamboree took place in a New York cemetery. Oh, there's a manga series called Zombie Powder, apparently.
Oh, do they eat zombie powder?
I don't know. Oh, also there is a something called Haitian zombie powder that messes people up.
Oh yeah, that sounds applicable to what we were just saying. Jeez.
Okay, good to know. Sorry, I just googled zombie powder to see if somebody had already had this idea for a product, and it's a deeper hole than I had anticipated going down in the middle of the show. A canceled 1999 manga series ran in Shonen Jump for 27 chapters. Follows a teenage boy named Elwood who joins with the mysterious criminal Gamma Akutabi.
Why are the Blues Brothers going through this shit?
I know, right? In their search for the Rings of the Dead. These rings are a group of legendary artifacts with the power to resurrect the dead and grant immortality to anyone who collects 12 of them.
I do like zombie powder. I mean,
I just want to find out what the zombie
shit while Jake was in jail.
Right? Oh, now I want to watch the Blues Brothers. You just did that to me. Why would you do that?
I mean, because watching the Blues Brothers is something everyone should do.
It is honestly, I'm a big fan of Blues Brothers 2000, even though most people don't like it as much as the first one. I like it, so.
Never actually saw it, but I do like me that John Goodman rendition of Ghost Riders in the Sky.
John Goodman's like surprisingly good in that whole thing. He does the Looking for a Fox song, and I really like that song a lot too. So
we're on a mission from God. That's like because they're on a mission from God. That's like the Catholic Church has said that's like an officially approved movie.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one of the officially approved Catholic Church films.
Catholic Church approved films.
Didn't realize that.
When I tried to search for that, what tried to autocomplete was Catholic Church approved fertility treatments.
Moving on.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so let's see. So it's not on this list, but there's apparently a Vatican list of films. In 1995, on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of cinema, the Vatican compiled a list of 45 quote-unquote great films.
Oh, well, yeah, it's not on that list because it would have been. I know the movie came out before 1995, but it didn't. I don't think it was approved until Pope Francis became the Pope.
Schindler's List makes sense. 2001: A Space Odyssey's on here. Nosferatu.
Those are some odd choices.
A lot of movies I never heard of because they're older movies, and I don't do a whole lot of old movies. Like I don't know what Bicycle Thieves from 1949 is, but
it's an old Italian movie, I think. Was that The Bicycle Thief?
All right, so the Blues Brothers has now been deemed by the Catholic Church as a Catholic classic. This was August 29th, 2020 that happened.
oh really?
Oh, wow.
I found an article from June 2010 that said that. So
Okay, so it's been a while that
Yeah, it might have been
they
longer.
did that.
The Vatican endorses the Blues Brothers. Okay, sure, why not? I mean, I don't got a
they're
problem
on
with
a
it.
mission from God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to save that orphanage run by the Catholic Church.
With the recommendation, the Blues Brothers joins a list of dozens of films recommended by Catholic authorities that include Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandments, Jesus of Nazareth, Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ, Victor Fleming's Joan of Arc, and It's a Wonderful Life from Frank Capra.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So I hope everyone has enjoyed our Blues Brothers Catholic Church side discussion here.
Yeah, digression of the podcast.
Yeah, because we didn't have any of those yet before we got here. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, this is the new segment. It's the digression of the podcast. This week, starring Blues Brothers, officially approved, endorsed by the Catholic Church.
So for next week, anyone reading along, we're doing chapters 14 and 15. So we're gonna have some Serene and some Hrathen action. Action. So read those. Everyone listening at home, if you want, the two of you for sure should definitely read those before next week. And yeah, so we don't have any new emails, no new reviews or anything. So nothing to go into there. So thanks everyone for listening. If you would like to send us some emails, the email address is thesanderlanch with an E at the end @gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, which I haven't Instagrammed anything in a couple weeks. I need to do that. I've fallen behind on my duties. But yes, find us. Leave a review if you want to be in the Misting crew. It's still the Misting crew. I don't think we found anything to replace that with yet. So get jumped in.
The zombie crew.
The zombie crew. I guess you got to find something to call them. But yeah.
Oh damn! I could call them like Ragnats and shit.
Oh, you could. If anyone wants to be a Ragnat,
if anybody wants to be a Ragnat or an Arteth or
that's not going to get us any reviews. I'm sorry, no one wants to be a Ragnat or a.
Nah. I don't even know what it is yet.
A Gragdet.
Yeah, a Gjorn, a Wern, Jadeth.
Hey, I'd be Viking Pope if somebody was offering the job. I'm just saying. Seems like a pretty smooth gig.
That's a limited time offer though.
Seriously.
It's true.
Anyway, music by Miracle of Sound, and Wuzzing to the Time of Next. Colo?
My name's Get up, get out in the city of dreams. Get up, get out.